Hey guys, Zach here. It's finally 2024, and it dawned on me just how close we are to the release of a new Star Wars game. As much as I've enjoyed my time with Jedi Survivor, I, like many others, have been craving a very different kind of Star Wars game, and it looks like we'll finally be getting that with the upcoming Ubisoft-published Star Wars Outlaws. When the trailer and gameplay demo dropped last summer, I was instantly excited. An open-world, underworld setting is exactly what I've wanted to experience in a Star Wars game since the cancellation of 1313. I have to say though, the companies involved don't really have my full confidence that they can deliver a really great game. Ubisoft is really hit or miss with the games they publish. Most of their releases tend to be very formulaic, and they have a habit of showing off these very exciting gameplay demos that overpromise on what their games can actually deliver, not to mention the overwhelming amount of technical issues that Ubisoft games tend to have at launch. The last Ubisoft game I picked up on launch was The Division, which was one of the most disappointing experiences I've had with a game in recent memory, whose developer, Massive Entertainment, is the lead developer for Star Wars Outlaws. However, I'm not going to let one game they made soil my expectations that they can deliver a quality Star Wars video game experience. I've heard that The Division 2, which they also developed, was a big improvement on the original. They also recently released Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which I've heard mixed things about since it was released. The trailer made it seem like it was essentially Far Cry set on Pandora, which sounds like it could be a pretty good idea. And wanting to see what I could expect from Star Wars Outlaws, I picked up Frontiers of Pandora and played for a few hours. The first thing you do in the game is create your own Na'vi OC. When Outlaws was first announced, that was one of the features some fans were really upset about being excluded. Based on this game, I'm really glad that our character will have a set personality and look from the jump. The options you have to customize your character are very limited, and when it comes to how your character is included in the story, it's not done in a very interesting way. Much of the beginning of the game, you kind of take this passive role as the story develops around you. Everyone addresses your character, and you get an idea that you will resemble an important part of the story as it unfolds, but your character doesn't really have any depth beyond that. Compare this with the brief dialogue tree we saw in the Outlaws gameplay demo, and it honestly seems like we'll have more of a choice in the character development of Kay Vess. In addition to this, the cutscenes in Outlaws have a more dynamic cinematic approach compared to Avatar being totally locked from your character's perspective for the entire game. This can and has worked in other games. Take another Ubisoft title, Far Cry 3 for example. One of the defining moments of the game includes a monologue from the game's antagonist Voss. This scene is the culmination of great writing, terrific direction, and a terrifying performance from Michael Mando. Now let's look at what should be a very similar moment in Frontiers of Pandora.
We are going home. Alna Kennekelku.
I'm warning you, Hari. Not another step. Stop right there!
This scene has flatline delivery and a moment that should be tragic for the protagonist and player, but it just doesn't hit the mark correctly. Also, I have to say, in 2023, not being able to pause a cutscene is a big problem, and Massive, I beg you, please do not do this again with Outlaws. Another big problem I have with the game are the visuals. Now, I played the game with HDR turned on a PS5, and everything you're seeing here was captured with the same settings. A lot of it does look really great. They captured the beauty of Pandora straight from the film for the most part. Where it fails is with the character models. The two Avatar movies make every Na'vi stand out, not only through their performance, but the physical appearance of each character is distinct from facial features alone. The characters in the game are really hard to tell apart. I'll have a mission telling me to speak to a specific Na'vi, but I have a lot of trouble discerning exactly who it is when I actually arrive. Which brings me to my next issue with the game, which I actually thought looked great at first. It's UI. When you first start the game, it asks you if you want a guided experience or one where you explore yourself. I opted for the latter, because I really prefer less on the screen while I'm playing a game. I'm sure most people can agree with that. A game like Breath of the Wild Wild or Tears of the Kingdom really nail this approach, and I expected something similar to that in this game. Instead, what that means is that when you arrive at a location and you have to talk to a specific Na'vi, not even your Na'vi vision will assist you in finding who you have to speak to. Now, I see this being less of a problem with Outlaws due to the unique character and species designs that the Star Wars universe has available. I'm also hoping that it won't have an over-reliance on the Nyx vision, which we saw in the gameplay demo. It looks much more limited than the Na'vi vision, but we do only have this one video to make assumptions on at this point. On the positive side, I am really glad that it looks like Outlaws will have a very limited UI similar to what Massive was able to do with Avatar. We haven't seen anything outside of these scripted sections. I just hope that the open world elements eliminates what didn't work in Avatar. I am still really excited for Star Wars Outlaws. It has the potential to be the best Star Wars game in this post-LucasArts era of the franchise. Even though I don't really care for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, I do think there is still a lot of potential in Star Wars Outlaws. But that's all from me. Let me know in the comments below, did you enjoy Avatar Frontiers of Pandora? And if you didn't, did it affect your excitement for Star Wars Outlaws? Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.